But really, I was more isolated than a lot of people where I lived, because we were always busy working. There was always plenty of work to do. Whereas I've got friends that went to guides and things like that. I never went to the guides.
No, because you're always working at home.
Yeah.
On your farm, did they take the sort of like milk and that kind of thing for the war effort? Did you have to supply so much to the war effort?
No, it was taken. Our cows were milked and put into churns, and the following morning it was taken to the local factory by a little pony and cart.
Who drove that?
My brother. I can remember sitting in the classroom and hearing this little pony going trip trot all the way down Station Road, and then I'd hear it come back again. And he always sat at the back of this little trap, didn't he? It would sort of be tilted, but it must have been the way it was balanced.
It was balanced with the milk churns as well.
And this little pony would trot along, and she was a little pony that we brought. We lived in Kentisbeer before we came up here, and my granny's place. And my granny's place, when she died, had to be sold, so we rented Bottoms, she said, or my parents did. And 3 times this pony ran from Bottoms back to Kentisbeer.
Didn't realise they like cats.
Remember, there was no traffic on the roads much then.
So my father had to get on his bicycle and go and collect the pony each time. But we did most things with ponies or horses. We had big horses, cart horses.
How many cart horses did you have on your farm? Oh, you had 2. So yours was quite a prosperous farm then, wasn't it?
I don't know about prosperous, but...
it was a working farm.
Yeah, most people only seemed to have 1, didn't they?
Yeah, a lot of people only had 1, but then they used to borrow, you see,
pair them up.
This was a hilly farm.
Yeah.
So it needed to... You needed 2 horsepower, to get up the hills and the slopes. When they were haymaking and ploughing and things like that, you need that bit more horsepower. It wasn't like a level field like that would be, you see.
Was yours a mixed farm?
Yes. Yeah.
So you grew a little bit of corn and...
Yes, and Swedes and kale, potatoes. We put our potatoes in caves.
Mangle.
They kept very well that way.
What do you mean caves?
For potatoes, you just put down straw.
Just a straw?
Straw, yeah, you dug out.
How far down?
You'd go to a hedge, a nice thick hedge, and you'd have a deep, wide ditch, wouldn't you?
Yes, right, yeah, good dry ditch.
Fill it with bracken or straw.
Yes, right, or straw, yeah.
And then you'd pile these potatoes
Took
out.
all your potatoes on that way, and then you'd cover them with straw again. And then
almost like thatching them in.
That's right.
Layers and layers of straw.
And then you'd put a good coating of earth, soil, all up over, but you'd leave little chimneys of straw so they could breathe.
And what do you call that?
Potato cave.
A potato cave?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You do the same with mangles. We used to do it even with carrots and beetroot when we had a little small holding. We used to put the beetroot and carrots in sections,
a dry hedge.
and do that. It's wonderful.
My parents knew which way the wind was blowing or the frost or whatever was coming, and they obviously put it in a well-sheltered place. But
so it'd be a sort of non-frosty
well.
Side of the hedge sort of idea.
Well, you'd be on the warmest side of the hedge, not in where the east or north wind cuts in.
Right. But it would be a long cave, wouldn't it?
Yeah, some of them would. Well long,
cave. Yes.
Because the advantage was, Margie, you'd cut into the end of the cave, and you just take what you wanted, and you just put straw.
And I hated it when you came across. You'd be feeling in and picking out these buckets of potatoes, and you stick your hand in a bad one or your finger in a bad one. And when you're a kiddie, you're moaning and groaning about it. But then you'd feed them to the cattle as well, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Put them in the apple.
And poultry, we used to boil them up for poultry. All the
in the apple mill.
Yeah, in the apple mill, you turn the handle and they come out like chips.
Chopping for the animals. And that was fed to the pigs and the calves.
Whatever. I had a lot of pigs.
How many pigs did you have then?
When my dad died, we had 100, but I don't know that they were. It might have been sows with litters, but I know because he said to me, I was only 14, you must look after the pigs for your mum. And so that was my job. We had a boar that we kept for service, and people would come from miles bringing their sows for service for that.